Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and in one of the oddest juxtapositions in the history of touring rock bands, a summer 1967 concert advertising handbill for Herman's Hermits, Tour of America, with legendary rock band The Who as the opening act. Look at that. Now there were occasional posters made on this tour as well, but today I'm showing you this 4.5-inch by 6-inch paper flyer. It's definitely a flyer handbill. The back is blank. It's not like a newspaper ad. And best suited and made for countertop giveaway, it can be pretty assuredly assumed. You can see right there at the top it says direct from England. And at the top, the stars clearly being Hermits, Hermits. And they absolutely were the stars. How about 11 top 10 hits up to this point compared to 0 for The Who? In fact, how about 0 top 20 hits for The Who? Ouch! That's right, Happy Jack had hit number 24 in the spring, this very spring of '67, and sure enough that song is cited next to their name. Herman's Hermits, on the other hand, had just burnt up the charts for the last 2.5 years. Things like Listen People, A Kind of Hush, I'm Into Something Good, my personal favorite. It's funny, their two #1 records are sort of like not as respected modern day, kind of novelty hits. Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, and I'm Henry VIII, I Am. But adding to the intrigue of this billing, Herman's Hermits interestingly ground to a halt as far as the charts were concerned right after this tour. I mean, they would never enter the top 20 again, much less the top 10 after this tour. On the other hand, The Who, yep, they were headed for the moon. They were on the launching pad. Their next single, coming out in a couple of months, was the biggest hit of their career. Again, talking just the singles charts in Billboard, and that would be I Can See for Miles. But Pete Townshend and company, they never really were a singles band. They were catching the rising tide of AOR rock, the radio format, and within a couple of years, needless to say, they would release their classic rock album, Tommy the Rock Opera. And even 50 years later, okay, 49, I just can't help fudging that 1 year, but I'm planning on seeing The Who in concert again this summer here in 2016, so that adds up to 49 years after 1967. Whereas Herman's Hermits, they broke up 45 years ago. Although granted, lead singer and group ambassador Peter Noone has been very successful, likable, and respected as a solo act and keeping the Hermits songs alive. Matter of fact, there's Peter. You can see him as a smiling face in the upper left, along with the other 4 Hermits, the only picture on the handbill. And then below that it does say, with special guests, giving The Who a little nod there, stars of Monterey Pop Festival. Yeah, The Who with Happy Jack mentioned, as I said. Monterey Pop had been just 2 months previous, and The Who had pretty much knocked them dead with their 6-song set, smashing all their equipment up on My Generation. Most of us have seen that movie multiple times. Now giving a little love to the third billed act there, and surprisingly, they're not English. They're from the Bronx, New York. Yeah, the Blues Magoos. And they did release an album the previous year in '66 called Psychedelic Lollipop, and that was one of the world's first albums to have psychedelic as part of its title. So I'm not going to jump into that debate, but that was good enough for the promoters to put above the Blues Magoo's name, first psychedelic rock group in the US. So how intriguing that must have been. The Blues Magoo's only big hit, only hit period, but it was huge, top 5 nationally, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, had actually peaked this year, which was nice, back in February of '67, so they were pretty hot. Nice to know the Blues Magoos, kind of like The Who, still going 50 years later, almost. I should have waited a year or two to cut this blog and then really had fun. But in 2014, they released their first new album in 43 years, and in 2015, they did tour again. So, like a lot of posters I've shown you, this is a tour blank handbill with the localized information printed in that little white box you can make out there down at the bottom. And it does say Friday, August 25th at 6:30 and 9 p.m. And then Kiel Opera House, very famous venue in St. Louis, Missouri. It's had everybody from Elvis Presley to the Rat Pack to the Rolling Stones over the years. It's now known, by the way, as Peabody Opera House. And then ticket prices are given as $3, $4, and $5, on sale at Kiel Auditorium box office, and send your mail orders to, now this is pretty good, I like this, Hermits box office, Kiel Auditorium, 1400 Market Street, and that's it. And then enclose self-addressed stamped envelope. So not only no zip code and no state of Missouri given, but St. Louis is never breathed for a moment anywhere on this handbill. It's not mentioned even once. And that's what I call localized advertising. We have to remember back before the internet and everything, you know, nobody would take out TV commercials or anything for a tour. So, you know, the tangible items was the way to do it, besides radio, ads and spots and announcements. And so you just didn't have to mention St. Louis. Although interestingly, St. Louis is a border city with like Illinois. So, you know, you sort of wonder, I guess Kiel Auditorium is just so famous, everybody knew where it was. And the Who and Herman's Hermits are so famous, everybody knows who they are. It just seems a little topsy-turvy on this 1967 handbill, but that just adds to the fun. And a lot of fun indeed this is. Thanks a lot for dropping by today. Have a good one. We'll see you again for something soon. Bye-bye.